go, okay, if they did something bad. So they go to prison or to jail. Okay, jail is maybe 1 to 5 years. Prison can be for life. Okay, so some people go to prison for a very long time. A gang is a group of bad people who do bad things together. Do you have any gangs in Taiwan? No? Okay, that's good, that's good. You don't want gangs. Gangs are bad. Okay? Crime is when you do something bad, something illegal, something you can't do. Then you become a criminal. So a person who does a crime is called a criminal. Okay? So if you break the law, if you go too fast in your car, or if you hurt somebody, you are committing a crime and you are a criminal. Okay? Burn one's bridges. Okay, this is something we say to get rid of our connections. So if I'm going to burn my bridges, I'm going to try to get away from other people. I don't want to be connected with others. If you are, let's say you work for a bank, okay, a big bank, and one day you don't want to work there anymore. You want to work at a different bank. So you might want to burn your bridges at the bank, meaning you have no connection with them anymore. You won't talk to your coworkers anymore, and you'll move to a different company. Okay? Disease. Disease is a very bad sickness. Okay? When you're very, very sick, and it's in your body, and it's hard to get better. Disease is very serious. Bump, okay, or bumped. So if you're walking on the street and you bump into somebody, they're not going to be happy, right? They're going to say, "Excuse me." Okay, so if you bump into somebody, remember to say, "Oh, excuse me." Okay, money to burn. Okay, money to burn. So think of yourself burning money. Do you want to burn money? Set it on fire? No, if you have money, you want to keep it. But somebody who has a lot of money might burn their money, okay, or have money to burn if they have too much money and they use it very quickly. Okay? If somebody has a lot of money and they use it very quickly, they have money to burn. But most people like us don't. We don't have that type of money. Vanish means to disappear, okay, be gone. Okay, so maybe if you have a brother or a sister and you bought a big pizza for yourself and you go to the bathroom and come back and your pizza vanished. You'll know your brother or sister took it, okay? Intent is to mean to do something. So something you want to do. So I intend to do it. I want to do it. I mean to do it. Intend we can also use if you accidentally did something. Oh, I didn't intend to do that. I didn't mean to. I didn't want to do that. So it's sometimes if you have an accident or if you accidentally do something, you can say intend. I didn't intend that. Okay. Or maybe your friend broke up with her boyfriend and she's being very annoying and crying a lot, and you say, "Oh, you're so annoying," and you say, "Oh, I didn't intend that." Okay, it's kind of like an accident. Sneak. Okay, so when we're little kids, we like to eat candy, right? So let's say your mom has a big jar of candy and she said, "Don't touch it," but you sneak over and get the candy. Okay, that's sneak. Crawl is when you go on the floor and you crawl across the floor. Okay, so let's say you want to steal money from a house. You might have to crawl on the floor to get across the room and steal something and get out. Emerge, okay, to come out of something. So I emerged from the woods. I emerged from the school. I came out of the school. Okay, emerge. Bystanders are people who are near you. Let's say, an example. Let's say I just stole money from a bank. Okay, the people who are around the bank are bystanders that see me stealing money. Okay, you might also say a witness. Okay, bystanders are witnesses. They see something like a crime happen. They see it happen. Okay. Playing with fire means you are doing something dangerous. Okay, or you did something that later might become bad. Okay, so you have to think, do I want to play with fire? Do I want to do this even though it is bad? Okay, so committing a crime or being in a gang is playing with fire. Okay, it's dangerous, it's not a good idea. Okay, so we'll talk about this one for the next one, okay, but I'll tell you the first story. So there are two stories and they're connected, and they're about two superheroes, okay? So this is called Trial by Fire, okay? And it's about this man, Blaze, and he has the power to control fire, okay? And his enemy, the villain, is this guy here, Mr. Golden, okay? So he's the bad guy and Blaze is the good guy. After years of waiting, Blaze was finally being released from prison. His daughter Iris came to pick him up. Years earlier, they had been in a gang, but now they had both paid for their crimes. Blaze had left the gang and burned his bridges. Okay, so Blaze, he used to be in a gang. Okay, remember that word up there, gang. Group of bad guys, but he got caught and he went to prison for a very long time, and when he came out he didn't want to be in the gang anymore, so he burned his bridges, meaning he cut off his connection with the gang. Okay, sometimes I've heard if you leave a gang, they're not very happy with you, and so that's playing with fire. Playing with fire. And Iris is his daughter, so she picked him up. Do you have everything? Iris asked. Blaze felt in his pocket for a small bottle of medicine. It was the cure for a rare disease he had, but when Blaze had first taken it, his hand had burst into flames. Okay, so Blaze has a disease that gives him fire, the power of fire. Okay. Amazingly, the fire didn't burn him. The medicine gave Blaze the power to make and control fire. This news had spread like wildfire among the prisoners. As Blaze was leaving, another prisoner who was being released bumped into him. Blaze recognized him as Mr. Golden. He had been a businessman with money to burn before he became a criminal. Okay, so while he was in prison, there were other bad guys. And this Mr. Golden, he used to be a businessman with lots and lots of money that he wanted to get rid of very quickly. Okay, so he's not a good guy. When Blaze reached Iris's car, he felt in his pocket again. The medicine had vanished. So in his pocket, he had a bottle of medicine that can help him control fire. And when he left the prison, it was gone. It vanished. Sometime later, Blaise and Iris heard a news report on the car radio. A downtown bank had caught fire. Blaise asked Iris to drive him there. He intended to use his power to help. Iris burned rubber to get downtown. Drivers shouted, "Where's the fire?" But she didn't slow down. When they arrived, the bank was going up in flames, and police and firefighters were standing nearby. Okay, so they were driving and they heard on the radio that there was a fire at a bank. Okay, so here's the fire. So Blaise, he can control fire, right? So he thinks he can help them. Blaise couldn't use his power to put out such a big fire, but he pushed the flames aside to let people out. He wasn't content to wait outside. He worried that someone trapped inside might be burned to a crisp. So he sneaked past the firefighters and went inside. Blaise didn't mind heat, but he had to crawl so he wouldn't breathe in too much smoke. Then he saw someone running toward him. As the man got near, Blaise realized it was Mr. Golden, and he was carrying a bag of money. Okay, so Blaise went into the fire to save people, and this is actually a bank. Okay, so bank is a place where we keep our money. So inside the burning bank, Blaise sees Mr. Golden, and in Mr. Golden's hand is money. Okay, so what do you think Mr. Golden is doing? Stealing, yeah, he's stealing money, okay? "Thanks for the medicine," Mr. Golden said. He threw a ball of fire at Blaise and ran outside. The ball of fire missed Blaise. He ran after Mr. Golden and emerged from the building. He saw Mr. Golden throwing balls of fire at the police officers. Blaise decided to fight fire with fire. He yelled, "Stop!" Blaise and Mr. Golden began to fight. Iris helped the bystanders get out of the line of fire. Finally, Blaise hit Mr. Golden, and he dropped the bag. Realizing he couldn't win, Mr. Golden ran to a car. He fired up the engine and drove away. Police officers tried to follow, but he escaped. The police asked Blaise to help them catch Mr. Golden, and he agreed. When Blaise explained the situation to Iris, she said, "The burning question is, what will Mr. Golden do next?" Blaise didn't know. He realized he was playing with fire, but he was eager to do the right thing. Okay, so Mr. Golden, remember, he stole Blaise's medicine. So now Mr. Golden can use fire. So Blaise and Mr. Golden can use fire. But can you fight fire with fire? Is that possible? It's kind of hard, right? So you would need something like water to fight him, something that goes against fire. So Mr. Golden, he got away. He escaped. He got in a car and drove away. But he didn't get the money. Okay, Blaise got the money from him. So, if you were Blaise, why would you try to help catch Mr. Golden? Why would you do that? Because Blaise was in prison. Blaise wasn't always a good guy. So why would he want to help catch Mr. Golden? Why would he want to help? So is Blaise a good guy now? Is he a superhero now? Yeah, he's a superhero. What does that make Mr. Golden though? What is Mr. Golden? He's the bad guy, right? So what does a superhero always do? people and they catch bad guys, right? So Blaze, he wants to help people and he wants to catch the bad guy, who is Mr. Golden. Okay? So in any superhero movie, it's always there's a bad guy and they have to catch the bad guy. And the bad guy does bad things and they have to save people. And sometimes they can get really tired because there's so many people to save and it can be very hard for a superhero. Okay, so that's kind of what Blaze is feeling, because Mr. Golden also has the power of fire. So how can he fight him if they both have the same power? Okay. If you could have a superpower, what would you want it to be? If you could have any superpower, what would your superpower be? Help people? Okay, yeah. I know some of my students say they would like to be able to flying, or turning invisible so that they can cheat on tests or something, or read people's minds. Okay. If I could have any superpower, flying, I would like to fly, but I think I would like to be able to turn into animals, any animal. So if I want to fly, I can turn into a bird. If I want to be scary, I can turn into like a tiger or something. Or if I want everybody to love me, I can be a cute little bunny rabbit or something. So it would be a fun power to have. Some people like, what's it called? Oh, X-ray vision. You can see through anything. Okay, X-ray vision also. Okay, so let's continue then with the second story. Okay, so the second part of the story, we have a new superhero, but he's also fighting Mr. Golden. This time he has the power of water. So can water fight fire? Yeah, okay. So we have some few more words here. Okay, so the first word is lab. Okay, this is a place where scientists work. So if you're a scientist, if you're making a robot, or if you are learning about adding things together, okay, you work in a lab. Okay. Keep your head above water. Okay, this means that you have so many things that are going on that it feels like you're sinking in water. And somehow you have to struggle to keep your head above the water. So imagine if you have homework and it keeps on getting more and more and more. It feels like you're drowning in your homework. So you have to try and keep yourself out of trouble by finishing all your homework. So we say keep your head above water so you don't drown in it, right? Don't drown in your homework. Explode. When something explodes, okay, explode. Wince, okay, wince kind of like maybe if you accidentally, cut yourself, okay, like you have a piece of paper and you're writing and then you accidentally cut yourself, you're kind of like, that's what a wince looks like. It's like you close one eye like this. That's a wince. Palm. Okay, so this is your hand. Okay, this area here, this is called your palm. Okay, this is called your palm. So this area here on your hand is called your palm. So when you put something in your hand, you're putting it in the palm of your hand. Okay, palm. Water under the bridge. Okay, water under the bridge means something that happened before doesn't matter anymore. Okay, so maybe you and a friend had a big fight a year ago, but now it's water under the bridge. It doesn't matter anymore. It's all okay now. So what happened in the past stays in the past. You don't have to worry about it anymore. Guilt. When you feel bad about something that you did, okay, when would we feel guilt? When do you feel guilt? When you feel bad about something you did. Have you, any of you ever cheated on a test? Okay, you might feel guilt. Yeah, you might feel a little guilt. Or if you have a little brother or sister, and maybe you were not nice to your brother or sister, and you might feel a little guilt. Okay? Or maybe you said something to somebody, and later they were very unhappy. You might feel guilt about that. So something you feel bad about that you did. If it wasn't something you did, then you will not feel guilt. You'll just feel bad about it, but it's not something you did. A tracking device, okay? Police use a tracking device to find where something is. Okay, so let's say they think I'm a bad guy, and they put a tracking device in my car so they can know where I am and where I'm going. Okay, so to keep track of people. Extinguish means to put out fire. Okay, to stop a fire is to extinguish it. So no more fire. So maybe you are barbecuing. Do you like barbecue? Yeah? Okay, and maybe there's the barbecue added too much fire, and you have to pour water over it. You will extinguish the fire, to put out the fire. Collapse, okay, to collapse, to fall down, okay. Buildings and people can collapse. So in, I think it was a month ago, in Tainan, there was a building that collapsed from the earthquake, right? So that's collapse, to fall down. Defend means to protect someone or something. Okay? You defend your friends when somebody is mean to them, right? Or you defend yourself if you think you didn't do something wrong. So to protect someone or something, even yourself, is defend. Okay? So those are the words for our next part of the story. Okay, so the first one we had Blaise and Mr. Golden. This one we have Harry. Okay, this is Harry. Not a very superhero name, but he has the power of water. He's a scientist. Okay. So if you want to be a superhero, do not name yourself Harry or Jim or Bob. Okay. Very weird names. Okay. In his lab, late at night, Harry examined the medicine he was developing. He decided it needed to be watered down. Harry's job was interesting but intense. There was so much to do that he could barely keep his head above water.